Welcome to the Shuman Show.
Let's go, baby. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy you were here. I've been inspired by your podcast and the book, and it's an honor.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate you reading the book and fired up to get into it, man. Hopefully we can provide some value for your listeners today.
I know we will do that. I know that. So tell the audience who you are, a little bit about yourself. Give them a little background.
Yes, I am an eternal soul having a human experience. And here in this human experience, I do mental performance coaching. That's my full-time gig. So I'm working with all types of high achievers, professional athletes across many different sports. I got a guy in the Olympics this year. I work with CEOs, entrepreneurs, really people who come to me really fall into two different camps. Like the first camp is, I have a big problem and I need you to fix it urgently. That's often the case. And then other people who are just like, hey, things are going good, but I know there's another level to unlock. And so that's what I do. And I help them rewire their nervous system to be able to perform at peak levels.
That's beautiful, man. And tell us a little bit about the journey that you were on to get there, because I just finished up your book and I know you didn't start off doing that. And there was a whole long, beautiful journey to get to where you are today.
Yeah, it was, man. I feel like it's probably unavoidable. And so anyone who has like an ambition or a spark and something like, this is my hobby, like this is the thing I like, don't let it go for forever, right? Understand that like there is like these realistic experiences you have to bring whatever your passion is to fruition. But if you keep that in your mind's eye as like, that's the compass, that's what you're moving towards, like you'll eventually get there. Because for me, I discovered my passion, which was this world of mental performance when I was 18 playing college football. And you know, as I started to get into this field and I have my own success and I started teaching some of my teammates and they had success, my confidence was building, my excitement around it. I was way better at doing this stuff, you know, this healing work, if you will, than I was actually playing football. And so it like gave me this sense of deep intrinsic confidence there. I felt like I was always reaching to be an athlete. Like I want to be, I'd like to be, but just a natural talent wasn't there. As a healer, it was there. Like I was tapped in, I was doing some magic at a very young age. And so when I graduated college, I was 22 years old. And you know, if you're a 35, 40, 50-year-old CEO or professional athlete in the prime of their career, you're probably not going to hire a 22-year-old to be your coach, right? It's not going to happen. And so there was a solid, I'd say, 6-7 years there of me having to figure it out through entrepreneurship to like, I could get the experience and also, you know, learn the skill sets to be able to work with the highest performers in the world. And so that's a whole journey in itself. I'm happy to get into it if you want, but let's just say, there were some detours, but there was always a North Star, and what I loved was always a part of it to a degree.
Yeah, for me, my takeaway in the book was like you always knew you were going to come back to that, but you went down different paths to kind of get to where you are today. And I'd be curious on what that looked like when you were 22 and starting your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, I have this tattoo on my hand. It says Ostinato Rigore, and it's Leonardo da Vinci's, I guess, mantra for life. You know, it means like stubborn rigor. And that's kind of how I've approached life. It's just like, I'm going to keep working away at it. I'm going to get what I want one way or another. I'm going to keep on wiggling my way towards it. So when I graduated college at 22, I couldn't get anyone to hire me for my coaching. You know, I was working with people for $30 a session, you know, and I had a few clients here and there, but.
And now what are you charging? Just to give the audience a little perspective here.
Yeah, at least $1,000 a session.
Incredible.
And, you know, I make deals because I work with UFC fighters and some boxers. So sometimes I'll work with people who are special to me, like Olympians. I don't know if people know this. The U.S. Olympic team is like a third world country's Olympic team. We don't fund them at all. So they just have to figure it out themselves, which is terrible. It's a whole nother conversation. But there are people who I'm passionate about, who I do invest into, and I give a lower rate because I just care about them and their mission. And it's fun for me. Ultimately, I'm doing this because it's fun. So little sidebar there. But when I was trying to figure this out at 22 and charging $30 a session, I was like, well, I'm not going to make a living off this. Like at that time, I just got on food stamps. You know, I was like, I'm going to figure it out my way, but I'm not going to just fully plug into some job that's going to give me security, that's going to lock me into a certain path. It's going to take all my time and not allow me to explore my curiosities and my ambitions. And so I started just kind of like stapling together my living. So like I found a chiropractor that I was doing marketing for. And then I launched a mobile app company where I started putting the meditations that I did and the hypnosis sessions, everything from like get rid of your fear of flying, to stop food cravings, to sleep better, to get rid of your anxiety, to play better basketball. We had like a lot of different apps, and each one was kind of tailored for a specific topic. And so I did that, and that made me a little bit of money for a couple of years, but eventually the way we were going about doing it, it kind of like, it ran dry. The well ran dry. This is 2012.
You were a scrappy entrepreneur. You were making it work.
Basically, yeah. And so, you know, like a noob entrepreneur, I was like, well, look, I have an app company. It's working. I must be brilliant. I'm 23 years old. So I started 5 other app companies. They all failed, you know, and I got into a ton of debt, had to move down to Medellín, Colombia. Didn't have to, but chose to, because I couldn't afford my rent where I was living. I literally had to sublease my apartment, sell everything I owned. And I was like, okay, where can I live for like very little so I can consolidate this debt and get out of it? And so if anyone who's in debt right now is in that position, it's like not a bad idea if you can, if you're not tied to a physical location, to escape to a country where you can do the USD arbitrage. And that's what I did. And so I went to Medellín. I was there for a few years. And during that period of time, I just continued to try to get back into what I loved. You know, I was coaching anyone who would let me coach them. This was about 25 years old, about 11 years ago now. I went down there initially. And I was learning skills. I happened to find this guy. I'm not going to name drop him, but he was a big wellness influencer. And he was just down there in Medellín, and he was learning from another person who had a wellness business down there. And he was trying to grow his following. And so he wanted my help with Instagram. And I didn't know that much about social media, but I was like, sure, like this opportunity to learn. So I started like doing all of his content, and kind of I got exposed a little bit to like the dark side of this, because this guy, he had like this wellness Christian brand. And then I see him in Medellín, like doing cocaine and hooking up with 18-year-old girls. You know?
Wait, people pretending to be someone else on social media?
Can you believe it?
Cannot believe that. That's insane.
But this is like, my first exposure to this world. But I also saw I was like a massive driver for his business. And I was like, all right, don't want to do it that way, but I see a big opportunity here. And so I had a friend.
That's what Matthew McConaughey would call a green light right there.
Yeah, it's a green light. It's a green light. So I worked with him for a little bit. It kind of fizzled out and we went our separate ways, but I kind of saw the opportunity there in social media. This is back, 2015. And I ended up partnering with a buddy of mine who, I was living in Austin, Texas before I moved down to Medellín. You know, like I'm talking about all the hot spots, right? For the bros who are doing entrepreneurship. And so I was in Austin, and he was working a corporate software sales job, and he was really into this path I was on. Like I was by no means successful, but maybe I looked like I was kind of successful because I had like time freedom at least, right? I could do what I wanted, even if my businesses weren't working.
Yeah. You were following your truth too, which is people are attracted to that for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So he came to me for coaching, and I started coaching him. And eventually that coaching led to his evolution of quitting his software sales job, wanting to go into YouTube. And he was doing it by himself for a little bit. And after a while we were just talking, and I was like, do you want to come down to Medellín and like we just try to give this a shot together? Like, let's do something. So he moved down there, and my whole thing was mental performance. His was actually jump rope fitness. So we took these two things that you think wouldn't be related, but we put them together and we created a YouTube channel. It was called Zen Dude Fitness.
Incredible name.
Yeah. And we were just honestly massive stoners who were just making workout videos and trying to inspire people. And that was that season of life. You know, I was 25 years old, 26 years old in this period, and just learning, but also, you know, stressed as hell because I'm digging myself out of debt. I don't have a consistent income. I'm in the depths of like fear every day. Even down in Colombia, I'm looking at my, you know, the emails coming in saying, you know, you've overdraft fees like every few days. Even living in Colombia, like worried about like what can I afford to buy and eat and just to get by. And so very stressful period of time, but also very fun period of time. A lot of polarity there in those things. But yeah, long story short, like we did figure it out, and it ended up being like a hard pivot from getting away from all the stuff that I'm used to around mental performance into jump rope fitness. And we did it by really focusing on the niche in YouTube. And if you can find a niche that people are searching for that is fairly untapped, like it's a gold mine. That's what it is. So we started typing into like the search bar on YouTube, how to jump rope for, and then the search terms would populate for us. It'd tell us what people are looking for.
It's literally giving you what to create.
Exactly.
This is what people are looking for.
That's it.
Can we make this?
Yeah. So we just started making the videos it told us to make because nobody had made them, but people were looking for them.
Yeah.
Easy. So we started making those videos and it started working. We started getting traction because the first year it was like not much was happening. I think it was probably like 9 months of like hustling our faces off, and we got to like a couple thousand subscribers. And then once we figured out answer the questions people are asking on YouTube, it was like the rocket ship started. 6 months later or so, we were at 50,000 subscribers. Damn. And we ended up building, I think it's at like 1.4 million subscribers now. Yeah, so the brand really took off.
Are you still involved to it?
He bought me out of my equity a few years ago.
Okay.
Because for him, like that, like the way men's performance is like my thing.
Yeah.
Jump rope fitness was his thing. And so I kind of always was like, hey, let's like build this up. Let's try to like sell it. I'm trying to remove myself as much as I can from the business so I can get back to what I love. And I think there was some inner conflict there, as co-founders, where it was like, he wanted to like, we were also best friends, so like add that together, roommates for many years, all those things, where he was like, but this is my thing. I love it, but I also want to kind of appease you and what your desires are and what you want to grow. And so there's that little bit of like tug and pull. And then eventually got to a place where it was like, he saw that like I was already starting to work with a lot of people coaching. I was doing like 4 hours a week on this YouTube business, and I was spending, 40 hours a week on my coaching business. And eventually came to a point, he was like, do you think, you want to just let me like take over the company? And I was like, thank God. Yes, I do.
I would love that.
Yeah. I was speaking of, you told me before we got into our recording that you do some manifestation coaching for people. Yeah. And like, that's a lot of what I do, is helping other people create their realities through aligning themselves at the subconscious level. And that's literally what I was manifesting. It was like, this is what I'm creating. And so when he said it to me, it was like the biggest relief. Because as best friends, as business partners, went through the trenches together. I didn't want to be like, dude, will you buy me out? Because when you're asking for money, it's a lot different than someone saying, hey, I'm going to give you money for what we have built together.
And you love and care about the guys, so you want to maintain the relationship. And
yeah, exactly. So fortunately, we were able to get that done. And in that process, I made the full transition to coaching. And that's kind of what I've been doing ever since, man. He bought me out a few years ago, but I've really been full-time coaching the last like 6-7 years or so, and just fully in the trenches. And I very much believe that like wherever you want to be in your life, there's an emotional like frequency. It's like almost like tuning into a radio station that you're getting into. And once you tune into that frequency, all the other people who are tuning into that same radio station are going to be gravitated towards you and find you. And it's been fascinating how it worked. It was like when I started doing the social media stuff and started getting a lot of like followers and subscribers on there, it's like all these people who were like in that space started gravitating towards me. Like I wasn't reaching out to them. It's like they just kind of showed up. And it's been the same thing in my mental performance business. It's once I started working with NFL players, Major League Baseball players, NHL athletes, like it's like all these other people just seem to find me. It's like a magnetism of the energy. It's like now I'm in the energy, so I'm in it, and so it magnetizes towards me. It's not like this marketing tactic. Well, I do this, this, and this. I was literally talking to a kid a couple days ago.
You almost don't even have to sell it, because you're emitting that frequency. You're attracting what you're supposed to attract.
If I tried to sell it, it wouldn't be received either. If I reached out to a pro athlete, I was like, hey, you could really use my performance coaching. They'd be like, no, they wouldn't be like anything. They just wouldn't respond. Yeah. All these people have to come to you at this level. It's like,
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I want to circle back. You talked about the subconscious. What is the subconscious to you? How do you think about the subconscious?
Yeah. I think about the subconscious as a greater field of consciousness. I think we all have a collective subconscious, and I think we're all tied into this field of consciousness, and within that there's pieces of the code that wire the subconscious. And so there's a lot of overlap between so many of our subconsciouses because we live in a culture with a set of beliefs and a system. It's like, you were supposed to build a house this way. In this country, you speak this language. In the US, you're supposed to have one wife. You go to the Middle East, you can have 9 wives. You know, it's like there's this collective subconscious in the culture you live in, and then you have your personal subconscious. And I think the awakening process is understanding that you can take ownership over your own subconscious and you can recode it in a way that's in alignment with what you want. And so the subconscious is the supercomputer that's running your whole life. Our conscious mind processes maybe 6 to 40 bits of information per second. The subconscious can process up to 40 million bits of information per second.
Whoa.
And it can do so because it needs to. It beats your heart, you know, it grows your hair, it does everything, digests your food. Like the subconscious is running the whole show from behind the scenes. But it's also a part of what makes you have your conscious thoughts and creates your feelings and the outcomes you have in your life. Because in regards to reality creation, what your subconscious is constantly doing is deleting, distorting, and generalizing information that's coming in so you can actually see reality for what it is.
And that's because so much information is coming in.
Yes.
It's too much to deal with.
It's too much. It's too much. So you have to mostly get rid of everything, which is you're deleting most of it. You're generalizing, oh, this is like this. Or you're kind of like morphing or distorting it to fit the narrative that your mind needs to understand.
To ultimately keep you safe?
I'd say so. That's probably the primordial function of the subconscious is you grow up in a tribe and you need to learn from the tribe. And if you go outside the tribe, you're alone, you're gonna die.
Yeah. So how do we begin to rewire the subconscious?
Yeah.
What are the first steps? What does that look like?
The first step is you go smoke the toad. You don't have to do that.
Kill yourself through ego death.
Ego death. That definitely is a kickstart to the process, but it's not necessary. I have a lot of clients, they've never done any plant medicines and they've done incredible work. And so it really comes down to awareness. That's where it all starts. The first exercise I give any of my clients, and the first exercise that I have people actually doing in my book, is to set alarms on their phone to go off every 3 hours to ask themselves a question: what does it feel like to be me right now? And that question is the awareness of the I am. What is the I am experience in this moment? You only get to that through the feeling experience. And so as long as you stay in the head, you're kind of hallucinating oftentimes about past situations that have occurred, or hallucinating about future things that happened or might happen, fears, you know, dreams, fantasies. The only realness is the I am experience of closing your eyes. What does it feel like to be me right now? Because when you go to that level of awareness, everything can change, because then you go, okay, I'm feeling anxious. And you can actually do something with that because you brought it into the light. It's not living in the darkness anymore. So a lot of people suppress their feelings, and suppression creates depression. And so as long as you're suppressing, you're not dealing with what's in the darkness, you're going to start to feel these feelings of apathy, burnout, chronic fear, fatigue, adrenal fatigue. It's all being suppressed, but it's all still happening. And so that is the beginning of the path to get into your subconscious, is what's it like to be me right now? What does it feel like to be me? Actually connecting with it, which actually takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it's not easy. And I'm thinking through my own situations, like say I do that exercise, right? And I have done that before, and I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling fearful in the moment, worrying about a future scenario that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Then I would assume the next step is to do something to make myself feel better. Meditate, move my body.
Yeah.
Maybe journal about what I'm fearful of.
You can do all these things. One way or another, you want to go through. You want to go through what's there.
The only way out
is through, baby. Through. So that's always it. And so the way I take people through, like my modality is having them explore what the piece of code is in the form of a belief that's creating the anxiety in this moment. So if you're feeling anxious, you feel into anxiety, not into the head. And this can take a little bit of work to get here, because a lot of people are disconnected from their body. But of course, like the holy trinity of health is mind, body, spirit. And so you have to get comfortable going out of the mind into the body to connect to the spirit and bring it to its full potential. So feeling into the anxiety, and I keep pointing here because the anxiety usually lives in the solar plexus region. That's where people feel it. You know, in Chinese medicine, we refer to this as, you know, the third chakra here. And so as you feel into that, if you can go into it and you can bring yourself fully through it, into it all the way, where the sensations are really strong, going to a place where like you never want to go. You're like, why would I go into the feeling of anxiety? I'm trying to escape this. If you do have the courage to go into it, you can ask the question, what am I believing to be true right now that make me feel anxious? And as you sit into that, a bubbling up will be the piece of code that is propping up this belief and creating your anxious suffering in the present moment.
And then once you see that, what do you do with that piece of code?
Yeah, usually that piece of code is a belief that may not be rationally true, or maybe it is rationally true. Either way, whether it has any evidence or not, you have to accept it in its entirety. And this is kind of a forced ego death, right? Without the plant medicine, this is an ego death experience of going, oh, okay, it is true, you know? Okay, maybe you're feeling anxious because you believe that you don't have enough money to make payroll this month. Okay, full acceptance, fine, I don't. I don't have enough money to make payroll. And you fully die in this acceptance of this belief, because the belief is going to reinforce itself. You will delete, distort, and generalize reality to make sure you don't hit payroll, as if you're living in this constantly, right? Eventually it's going to come to a head. So we accept it, because what you can't accept won't change, and what you resist persists. So we accept our way through the belief of the thing that, the last thing you probably want to have happen, the thing that's your greatest fear. You accept all the way through it. And how do you accept? Well, I think that's a skill in itself. I think it's a process, and I teach it by closing your eyes and you just say it out loud. You say it out loud over and over, and you allow yourself just to process everything that's coming up. You breathe through it, and you just allow the purge of it. And sometimes there might be screaming, there might be crying, there may be some emotional purge that comes along with the acceptance. But once you come to acceptance, it feels like, all right, fine, you threw your hands up, it's true. All right, I'm not going to hit payroll, whatever your fear is. Or, you know, my boyfriend or girlfriend is going to leave me.
That's a big one. I was actually going to bring that up, fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
You know, and even if there's not truth to that, if they don't feel like they want to leave you and they're madly in love with you, it probably comes back to our own self-worth, right? I'm not worthy of that kind of love.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be rewiring that belief.
Yes. And what I've noticed is that these beliefs are kind of like onions as you peel back the layers. So maybe we start with, okay, let's go through the belief of my girlfriend or boyfriend is going to leave me. Once we accept that, and then will you transmute it? This is the process of alchemizing the energy, because energy can't be created nor destroyed. So it's still there. Now we reclaim it. And I have some exercises. I think I did the episode Deep that you know about. I took them through it. Happy to take you through one today if you want as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
But in that process, we're clearing out the old belief in the form of the code, and then we're creating a spaciousness for something new to take form. And the newness is just a polarity. It's the opposite polarity of whatever is there. So the opposite would be, I believe my girlfriend or boyfriend is going to stay with me.
Choose me.
Yeah, choose me. However you want to reframe it in the polarity of, I'm not going to be alone.
So you need to replace it with that polarity.
Yeah.
Because that is energy that is inside of you. It is a code. That code needs to be replaced.
Yes.
And the only way it works if it's the opposite.
The opposite polarity, yeah. Yin and yang, right? It's the alchemization of it, the dark, the light. All right. So we're taking darkness and we're alchemizing it into the light, because it's actually going to empower you. Because maybe as long as you held this belief, you're actually doing things to sabotage the relationship, because you're trying to prove that subconscious code right. You're trying to say, look, I'm going to show you that I am going to mess this up. Rationally, you don't want that, but subconsciously, you want to prove the identity right.
And then you self-sabotage. You're like, what happened?
Yeah. And so that's why you want to transmute it, because when you believe you're going to stay together, all of a sudden you start unconsciously just doing the things that are going to make you a better partner, someone that they'd actually want to stay with.
And is it that simple of just in your mind saying, I'm choosing this new belief, this new code? Does it take constant work? Will it still come up throughout the process of change?
It's a mind, body, spirit process. So we're talking about the mental aspect of here, you know, in this conversation, but there's this somatic body aspect of it, of like the breathing, the processing the body's doing around it. And then there's a spiritual aspect of it, of feeling in alignment and feeling the energy come up into your heart and feeling like, okay, I feel whole. This feels like truth now. I've entered into a belief that actually feels in alignment with my true self. And so, like I said, we peeled back the onions, because as you mentioned, you might start with the belief they're going to leave me, and then you might keep going deeper and deeper, because what I'll say is like, okay, is there any anxiety still there? So if you go deeper into it, you're like, there is some anxiety still there. Okay, well, what are you believing now? I believe no one wants to be with me. Oh, okay. Well, what do you believe to be true that would make you think no one wants to be with you? Well, I believe I'm worthless. Ooh, now we got to a real core piece of code, right? I believe I'm worthless. And as long as you believe you're worthless, you're going to sabotage your relationships, because who is this person who'd want to be with a worthless person? There must be something wrong with your partner if they're choosing you. And not only that, but you're going to want to reinforce, like, I'm worthless. I'm not worthy of love. So I'm going to sabotage this. And again, nothing happens rationally, but most of life happens beneath the conscious surface. And so once you get to the core, and I'll kind of go digging deeper and deeper and deeper with my clients until I'm peeling back so many layers that they go, oh, no, there's nothing here. I'm just present. That's where you want to be. Present, in flow. It's not like an ecstatic experience. It's not like a super low experience. It's just like a flow. It's a present state of being. And then I have them build a muscle of this by creating a script with all the new beliefs you've transmuted. They record it with their own voice, because we're used to having our own self-talk in our head. And then I throw some meditation track behind it, and they listen to that every morning when they're waking up, when they're more in that subconscious state, that more neuroplastic state where their brain waves are not in the normal wakeful beta brain waves, but they're more in that alpha theta state. You listen to it, you're able to incept this, you're able to prime yourself, and the same thing before you go to sleep at night. And of course, repetition.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Is a mother of skill. And so with anything you're learning, repetition is powerful. So we do in the morning and night, and I tell them, hey, add it in as much as you want in your commute, when you're working out, whenever you want, because it's anchoring you into this state.
Wow. Your own mantra.
Yeah.
Rewriting your own codes and then using that as a mantra daily.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Fuck.
Powerful. And that's where miracles I see happen all the time. Physical miracles for my client, miracles in their business, just things come out of nowhere. Miracles happen. I fully believe I'm open to anything now, because I've seen so many crazy things happen.
I always say we're limitless. The only limits are the ones we put on ourselves.
Yeah. It's all just perception, just keeping everything bottled in here. It can only be this. And the more we can kind of expand our field of vision, the more possibilities present themselves.
Yeah. I want to touch on, I thought this was such a beautiful part of the book, power versus force. I had never heard that being explained in that way. Do you mind touching on the difference between your opinion of power versus force?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think of power as inspired action versus force is action from obligation. And you can definitely be very successful being forceful, but I haven't seen many people be fulfilled being forceful.
I guess that'd be coming from scarcity probably as well too, right?
Exactly. We can put a lot of umbrellas there for both of these, right? And so if we're going to go to the most consciousness level conversation, it's power is love, force is fear. That's what it comes down to. And all the emotions that trickle down under those are just offshoots of love or fear. So when you're in your power, you can insert truth, love, power. It bubbles up inside of you. Nobody's like, hey, go do this thing today. You're like, no, I can't not do this thing today. Like, it's in me. It's like bubbling out of my very being. Versus force is like, I have to do this thing today. And, we live in a very forceful world where, at least in the Western world, especially in the United States, and of course there's podcasts like this are happening all the time. There's a whole movement around aligning more with your power, your truth, and love. But yeah, the mainstream is still operating from scarcity and fear and not enoughness, and believing that, more for me means less for you, or more for you means less for me. And I have to just force and grind and compete to get what I want, instead of power is a surrender to God and the infinite source of abundance that's available for us at all times.
Yeah. I study Kabbalah, and the creator, the light, it talks about there's abundance forever, infinity. But the scarcity mindset is that there's not enough abundance for me and for him. No, there's enough abundance for everyone and everything.
It's just made up, right?
And I remember in your book, you talked about there can be some power in force in the beginning to manifest and kind of create that change.
Yeah, definitely. I think that most people's journeys require a level of force to get started. And maybe if you grow up, I haven't found these people, and I'm sure they 100% exist, but it's maybe you grow up in a household where you're getting subconsciously wired to your full potential. right? Like imagine that. Like I have kids right now. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. Like I'm doing my best with that. Like of course I'm not going to get it completely right, but like, you know, I'm telling them every day, you're more than enough. You're loved. When you're your true self, you're going to be your greatest self. And like 2 and a 5-year-olds, like who knows how much of that they're processing, but they're getting the repetition of it.
I'm sure they're processing a lot more than we think.
Yeah. My 5-year-old,
hearing that
for sure.
over and over again.
Yeah. The 5-year-old's starting to click with her a little bit, and she's like receiving it. Because I can even see
a shift. You see a shift in her a little bit.
Yeah, because you can see like the primordial code, right? Because a lot of this is passed on from not just our life experience, but you know, our genetics. You know, and that's the whole thing around epigenetics. This whole field exploring, like, oh yeah, you receive genetics, but then it's like, which ones are you going to turn on, right? Like for me, I want to come back to this conversation around programming my kids, but like I inherited the gene for hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
And in that period,
I actually have that gene as well. Yeah. I resonated with that in the book. Yeah.
Okay.
Something I'm monitoring currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my high period of stress, I turned on that gene.
Yeah.
And then it started to express itself as hypothyroidism, and I had to get on medication for it. And then this past year, I completely healed it. I turned the gene off. I'm not on any medication anymore. And so it's possible to do that, but it's much better, obviously, to wire yourself in a way and function in a way that doesn't require that and allows you to stay in, I guess, a frequency of synergy. So you don't have to force against yourself, because for sure, like you said, in the beginning of my journey, like there was a lot, even though I was like tapping into some power, like it was mostly force.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, man. It's almost, like I said, unavoidable. You hear like, I work with so many successful athletes, entrepreneurs, like most of them have that season of force, and then it's like this opening into stepping into their power. And it's like a maturity, it's an evolution. And my little case study is, can I get my kids operating from power from the start? So I'll check back in 20 years.
I know you can.
You know how that's going.
I feel like I'm coming out of my my force period right now. I feel the last 6 months to a year has been the transition.
Yeah. And you know what I find to be because even me, it's like that pattern is so wired into my genetics, into my very being. You know, that's our work, right? So we don't pass it along to our children. It's like, okay, do we want to stay in this pattern? Do we want to break the pattern? And that's what really I'm trying to do in my life and with my clients and with my children, is to break those generational curses and be like, no, I'm going to live in freedom. I'm going to choose love. I'm not going to be in scarcity and fear.
Yeah.
Just see beyond that illusion and say, guys, we are all one. We've always been one. We always will be one.
It's the biggest illusion that's ever been played, that we are separate. But for me, I was always like, I didn't believe in God until I experienced God. And psychedelics gave me that belief because I experienced it. And I think that's what people are missing. If we all experience that oneness, we realize that we're not separate. But so many people just unfortunately have not experienced that oneness.
Yeah. So that is, you know, I think the world would be a lot better if everyone got to experience the oneness. Then they'd be like, oh, I get it. Yeah, we're all connected. It's not
let's sell a drink that's not marketed as, you know, psilocybin or DMT.
Yeah. But you know, I think that we're all on our unique life paths, and some people are ready for that medicine in this life and some people aren't. And that's okay. And so, you know, there's people who are like you and I who want to be lights in the world to bring people into the oneness, and we'll do that. And the people will magnetize towards us who believe in this. And the people will be people who want to stay in their fear and they'll reject it. And as long as we stay in this field of fear, we're going to continue to have reality meet us right there. The fear will just keep meeting us there. So we have to transcend it. We have to live in the state of love.
Do you think we'll get there?
That's the ultimate question, right? Will we get there? Will we get there? I know, I think we all get there eventually. On some timeline.
Some life.
Some life and some timeline.
Oh, man. That's great. So I know in the book, Sensei Clay was a big part of your journey. I want to hear a little bit more about this character because he was fascinating.
Yeah. No, he's an interesting fella. He's a guy who grew up in a household where there was drug abuse, there was physical violence at a very young age, a lot of trauma. And at the same time, at 3 years old, he was seeing 4-dimensional human beings, like spirits. Whoa. He was seeing spirits there around him. So he was like born into this life, very connected to something greater than himself. And he had this extra sensory perception. And he has just hustled his face off his whole life just to survive. And he's done every job, every hustle to try just to survive. And part of that was just him learning about martial arts. That was one thing, a gift that he got from his father, was that even though his father was like abusive and terrible in many ways, his dad was really into martial arts. And so he kind of gave him that. And then Sensei went down that path of continuing to explore it and learn different modalities. And he also seems to have a little bit of like, just like psychic ability for sure, where he can like tap into information that he shouldn't be able to tap into, which I've kind of learned over time is a skill in itself that you can start to build. But I think it came very naturally to him, and he started to build the skill. And so, yeah, this guy I met because he was a manager of a supplement shop. Super random. I think I met him a few times when I was in high school. Don't have a lot of memories there, but when I went to college, when I was sucking it up my first year playing football and wanted to get on the field, came back that January, went home, went to the supplement shop, was looking for the magic pill, and I was like, hey, like, what do you got for me? And at least
it's got to be a vitamin shop.
Yeah, right. I was like, give me the next testosterone pills. Like, give me something good, man. Creatine's not cutting it. I need some real juice. Yeah. So he, in that moment, I guess we had enough comfortability at that point where he was open to kind of sharing a little bit about the other stuff he was into outside the physical training, because he was into bodybuilding. You know, I did a bodybuilding show because I was into all that physical stuff as well when I was younger. But he started to open my mind just to my ability to direct my reality through my mind. And he started teaching me how to meditate. He started teaching me about mindfulness. He started teaching me about the energy system in Chinese medicine, the chakras, the meridians, and just introducing me to this whole world, like just opened my eyes to all of it and really expanded it. Like, I would say, like, there's a couple people in my life that, you know, were really put me down paths. Like my first business partner, who I started the mobile app company with, he's the first entrepreneur that I had ever really met. I didn't know anyone else who was like doing their own thing. And he was doing YouTube in like 2011.
Whoa.
And so
he was an OG.
He was an OG, and he was like a hustler from like day one. He'd always done some kind of hustle. And so when he worked with me to create the first mobile app company, I'm like, you're the person responsible for getting me on this path of entrepreneurship, because I just didn't know it was an option before. You know, I was just looking for like, how do I get a job? Yeah. Right. Like, who's going to give me money?
And that's the programming right there, right? That's the belief that the only way is going to school, getting a good education, getting a safe job.
That's the only possibility I saw, because I was graduating college. I was like, well, I know I like this mental performance stuff. I applied for some sports psychology programs, some neuroscience programs. I kind of like half-heartedly did it. Yeah. And I didn't get accepted into any of them. And I was kind of doing it on my own. And I never have been someone who likes to, like, how do I frame this? Likes to like try to fit myself into a mold to get accepted. And it felt like trying to apply for those things was like trying to like convince them, fit myself into a mold to get into the program. So
not fully in alignment, but trying to convince yourself it's alignment.
Because I was like, okay, I haven't learned anything useful in college in regards to my ability to heal people. I've learned a tremendous amount for a fraction of the price from my sensei, who taught me all these amazing skills that have transformed my life.
Ain't that some shit? And how much you pay for that?
Yeah. You know, maybe a few $1,000s versus, you know, $50,000 or, you know, just, I think a lot more than that for college, but a lot of money. And so, yeah, in that experience, I kind of understood like, I'm getting the good stuff outside of school. Why am I gonna go back to school? So I half-heartedly submitted to these programs, but I was still like, well, who's gonna hire me? Like, how do I get a job? Like, how does this work? Right? So getting introduced to entrepreneurship, he was like my buddy. He was a Division I basketball player. So he got interested in my work because he wanted my help. And then he was already doing mobile apps, and he was like, you should just make this an app. And I was like, you can do that? And so he kind of forced my hand and brought me down the entrepreneurship path. And then my sensei, who took me into this world, he's the person responsible for bringing me down this path. And of course, like, I've learned a ton when I've gone beyond both of the people who got me into it. Yeah. But, you know, I still credit both of them as like people who put me on these different paths.
Yeah. Do you think we need guides?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? Is to support one another and uplift one another. And I think that there's mentors, there's guides, there's coaches. I mean, like, this is why I've committed my life to this, is because it brings me so much purpose and fulfillment to help people down the path, because I've been there. Yeah. A lot of times my clients tell me, it's like when maybe they read my book or hear my story, they're like, whatever you figured out, like, I want to figure that out. I'm like, great. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to pull you up.
And I think one of my favorite parts of your book, I love the book, was how vulnerable you were. You really shared. I mean, you go deep in that book, and I think people always resonate with that, right?
Yeah.
Because we all go through shit. And to see what you've been able to do in this life and how you've transformed and transmuted all that stuff, you're like, oh shit, if he could do it, I could fucking do it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, my ability to share any of my traumas, and I'm a complete open book, is just a byproduct of healing the trauma.
Yeah.
Right? And when it's in the darkness, it's scary. You don't want to talk about it. It has so much emotional charge around it. Like, if you're traumatized, you have something bad happen to you. Like, for me, it was like some sexual abuse stuff when I was younger. It's like, that's the core of your insecurity, your lack of confidence, your fear. And so once you heal that, then what is there to be afraid of? Yeah. You face your greatest demon.
I have like an analogy, the demon monster. It's like keeping like this monster in the closet, right? And then it's like you open up the door and it's actually not a monster.
Yeah.
It's like a little puppy or something. Yeah. Well, you know, it's okay.
Yeah, you just become matter of fact about it. You're like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
So what? You
don't give it power.
Whereas before, it was like the guiding force in my life. It was a thing that I had to
subconsciously
for sure. I had to prove myself worthy because of it. And that was something I was always competing against within myself.
So this brings me to my next point. You know, I would say that was like a core wound for you, right? As you stated in the book. How do you, I was thinking and reflecting when I was reading the book, like, what are my core wounds? Like, how does someone start the process of actually figuring out what their core wounds actually are?
Yeah. So I have a process that I've taken people through to like get down, bring them deep enough until the core wound like bubbles up. And it's a very hypnotic, meditative process I take people through. But actually what I've learned now through my experience is that you don't have to heal the core wound itself, the event itself, to move beyond it. Because the issue for me was not the core wound itself. It was the subconscious emotional scar tissue, if you will, that built up, that blocked me from that core wound. Does that make sense?
So you don't need to know what the actual core wound necessarily is.
No, you don't. And maybe it'll come to you at some point, but you don't need to know what that is. And that's a whole modality. Some people like literally their whole like healing practice is to help you do core wound healing. What I found is I like to move fast. I like to make progress quickly and be very impactful in my sessions. And what I learned is like, okay, I can keep going, digging deeper and deeper and try to get to this, or I can actually deal with what's happening in the present moment here. Tell me right now, where's the biggest blockage in your life, right? I'll ask a client that. You know, where's the most resistance you're running into? Okay, feel it. What's there? Anxiety, fear, sadness, whatever that emotion is, anger. And then the pathway of going down into it, like we talked about earlier, of uncovering all the subconscious pieces of code in forms of belief that are living there, that are creating that blockage, that is a scar tissue from your core wounds.
So as long as you're healing that scar tissue, you don't necessarily need to know what caused it.
Exactly. It's kind of like if you have a physical injury, because I work with a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
You don't need to know, okay, was it this game that I really injured my ankle? Was it the other game? Was it this play? It doesn't matter.
If you get pain-free and you feel great, who really cares where it came from?
Yeah, and in the present moment, is the injury there? Okay, let's address it for what it is right now. And let's clear the scar tissue there and let's rehabilitate you. It's the same thing at the emotional level.
That's beautiful. It's a great way to think about it. Thank you for sharing that. So I know you've talked about in your book being an eternal optimist, which I feel like I am as well. Why is optimism so important?
It's the core belief that everything's happening in your best interest. And the opposite.
Everything is happening for me.
Yes, exactly. the opposite polarity is life is happening against me.
Which is victim mentality.
Yeah. So it's like, why would you want to be an optimist? Because like, what is the alternative, right? If we're living in these polarities, it's like you either believe in life is happening to you or for you. So for me, it's like, that's just a smart belief to have, that like, because you're going to find it, right? When you believe everything's happening against you, you're going to go look for all the bad things that are happening. You have to have the core belief of everything's happening in your best interest or for you, if you want to achieve what you want to achieve and have a fulfilling life.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And what would you say to someone who maybe doesn't have that right now, is not an optimist, has the perspective of things are happening against me, right? Why is this happening to me?
Yeah, I think it's the same process of going down into it. It's fully accepting that it is happening to you, right? Going all the way through it. Instead of just saying it, oh yeah, this bad thing's happened to me. I have bad luck. I can't believe this happened to me again. No, just accept it. You have bad luck. The world's against you. Yeah, go all the way with it. Full ego death in this story of the world's against me. And I just have them go further and further into everything against you. Nobody wants you to win. Everybody's out to get you. All of it. Go deeper and deeper and deeper. It
Almost like feed it to accept it.
Yeah. Because what I want is for it to fully, it's kind of like, if we want to go a little esoteric here, like I have a friend that sometimes like helps people deal with like, evil spirits, if you will, and like helps do exorcisms. And he's like, the way to like get those like spirits out is like, you kind of have to pick on them a little bit. You have to like pick at them. And then they go, rah. And I find the same thing to be when someone has a worldview that's causing them suffering. I pick at it. And I keep pushing them on it, right? I'm almost antagonizing them, because you can kind of think of that almost like this like evil entity that lives in you that keeps you stuck in seeing the darkness everywhere, seeing that the world is against you. So I antagonize it. I go, yeah, nobody likes you. Everything's against you. You're too stupid to do anything right. Nothing's going to work out for you. No matter what you try, you're going to fail. And there's something comes up in them that wants to start to fight back. And I'm like, no, just accept it. That's true. And I make them actually die in the acceptance of it so we can transmute it and flip it to the opposite polarity.
I like that. It's almost getting them to push against it, right? Seeing it as the enemy.
And sometimes in that process, there will be a release. So I'll push and it starts to antagonize them. And then they'll scream bloody hell, or maybe they'll start bawling tears. And that release is in the process of letting it go as well.
That's beautiful. I like that.
It's a purge without the plant medicine. It's a purge. It's a releasing of that stored energy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's what healing is, right? It's letting go of things that are not serving us anymore.
100%.
Yeah. Whether it's a belief, whether it's a story we're telling ourselves. Yeah. That's powerful.
And I think that's like the peak performance side that I get excited about, because a lot of the healing work has stayed in like, okay, let's let it go.
Yeah.
But I get so excited about the fact that like, no, this is energy. Energy can be reclaimed. And I think that's what maybe a lot of healers are more about, like releasing, letting go. And I'm more about reclaiming, transmuting, and using that energy.
So it's not a release. That energy is there. It has to go somewhere. So you are transmuting it into a positive force.
Yeah. And you'll feel a release in it to a degree.
Yeah.
And when you transmute it, you will feel incredibly relieved. And you'll feel incredibly surrendered. But the energy has been reclaimed.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think psychedelics force you to do that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume it actually is harder to do it through this process that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
It really depends. I mean, sitting with ayahuasca for 8 hours, that's pretty hard, right? Versus some stuff that someone might go into a ceremony to try to deal with, like maybe I could deal with it in 15 minutes. Like, it sounds crazy, but like I've dealt with things that have plagued people for a long time very quickly. People will come to me with chronic pain for decades, and then within an hour of sitting with them, like we get to such a deep level that we release whatever's inside of them, and then they don't have pain anymore. So there's, in many ways, a skin a cat.
Yeah, that's true. No limits.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the placebo effect? I know you talked about this a little in the book. It's something I've always been super fascinated in.
Yeah. There's just so many research studies that just show you that placebo is one of the most powerful medical interventions known to man. right? It's so hard to beat the placebo for a reason. It's because when you give someone medicine and they think it's going to work, a lot of times it works to a degree. Because, you know, as a man thinketh, you are, right? It's that powerful. And it's because it's the belief, which is what programs every cell in your body. And so if you believe you're healed, you're healed. And it's not a head thing, though. It's a body. It's a very somatic. It's a mind, body, spirit, the Holy Trinity in full alignment that creates that healing. And so, yeah, man, I think that the placebo is really just acknowledging the power we have to heal ourselves.
Yeah. And I guess maybe that's the difference between like belief and knowing. Like I feel like knowing is at the cellular level. Like that's the placebo.
Yeah.
I have this funny example. Pretty crazy story, but when I was partying and doing my thing in college, we were all drinking. It was a frat party, and someone put supposedly a Xanax into my drink, and I think it was like a little piece of a gum stick or something that looked like a Xanax. And I drank it, and I had mixed Xanax with alcohol before. I was convinced that I was on Xanax and more fucked up. And my friends thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world. Like I literally felt more drunk.
Yeah.
And then that was the moment again with like experiencing something. I'm like, oh, this placebo shit is real.
Yeah.
Like my physiology changed. It's crazy.
100%. You know, there's so many research studies that like prove this stuff.
I wish I had a better example to tell the audience on that, but it's true.
Yeah, but then, you know, I was on Rogan a few months ago and he pressed me pretty hard on like sharing some of these examples of like the placebo and the power of it, because that's what we're getting into here. You know, like I shared with him, one study, it was like on a knee surgery, and you know, they told these people they cut open their knees and they do the surgery, and the other group of people, the control group, essentially the non-experimental group, they would cut open their knees and not do the surgery, and they got same results.
It's fucking crazy,
right? Because they believed their knees were healed now, so it was healed. Right? And this is like a medically established, you know, I believe it was, could get this wrong, I don't really care, maybe ACL surgery, something like that. And, you know, it's like, yeah, they've proven like this is effective, but maybe the mind is just as powerful in healing these things. Right? And this is what really got me interested, because I was a meathead in college. So this is what got me so interested in it, was studying some of these studies on like imagery, which is basically like intentionally using the placebo. Like actually, like that's what imagery is you're making the placebo like the experimental group essentially. And so there's research studies where they would have people do strength-based tasks. One of them was like a bicep curl, and the group that was doing the physical bicep curl would have their results. And then they took another group that just did the imagery. They just imagined themselves over 6 weeks doing the bicep curl.
Visualization,
Yeah, they would get they got the same results, actually curling and just visualizing curling. And then the third group, there's two other groups. The third group that did nothing at all got no results. And the fourth group that did bicep curl plus the visualization outperformed everyone. No surprise.
And it's crazy because instinctually, when I hear you speaking about that study, I feel the resistance of the limiting belief coming up. Like, that's crazy. Like, is that really possible? And again, that's something you have to transmute. Like, yes, it is possible. Yeah. That is the belief. There are things we don't understand about this reality.
Yeah.
About the mind, about thoughts, about the power of visualization.
Yeah.
Belief.
That's the fear of the unknown. Ultimately, it's like, is there something going on right now that I don't know about? What is that? Even if it could be beneficial to you, it's a little bit scary because it's unknown. And most people are very afraid of the unknown.
Why are we so afraid of the unknown?
Because we have no control over it. You know?
And the ego wants to control. The ego wants certainty.
Yeah. And I guess no illusion of control either, because most things aren't in our control, even though we think they are.
Nothing's in our control.
Yeah. I say that.
Okay, not nothing. There are some things that are in our control, but
this is the framework I give. In the present moment, there's only two things you can control. And really, you could say it all stems down to one, which is your focus in the present moment. Mm-hmm. We can actually choose to a degree what we're focusing on.
Yes.
Right now.
Which takes work. It's a practice, but yes, for sure.
Yes. And our results in this moment physically are just a byproduct of our previous thoughts. And just understanding that that's the cycle you're constantly living. And so if you want to control something, control your thoughts in your mind, the images you hold in your mind, the thoughts, the words you speak. It's all just a coming attraction of what your life's going to look like a minute from now, an hour from now, a week, a month, a year, 10 years from now.
That's the work. That's the work.
When I heard this for the first time, I was like, God, that sounds like really intimidating.
Yeah.
I have to control all my thoughts. Well, the beautiful thing is when you do the subconscious work that we're talking about here, the thoughts naturally are empowering. And that was like the game changer for me, because it goes from like a lot of people struggle with mindfulness and meditation. And like, if I can sit in meditation, then I can really gain control over my mind. But when I'm not in meditation, I can't. Well, most of your day is not in meditation. So even if you sit in meditation for an hour every day, you might be actively manifesting a life that's going to be working against you. So you have to get to the deeper subconscious root and actually get all that code in alignment with what it is that you desire. So the conscious thoughts that are bubbling up from your subconscious are the ones that are going to create the life you want.
That's beautiful. Do you still meditate?
Yeah, I do. My biggest practice right now is just working in the quantum field. This is what I do a lot of every morning when I wake up, because like I said, like that's the best time to get to your subconscious, or when you're falling asleep at night, unless you're going to go sit in a float pod or like do something where you have a long period of time where you can really drop in deep.
Yeah.
But first thing in the morning, I bring myself into gratitude for all the blessings in my life. Even before I get out of bed, I just run through them. I do my best just to feel them in the strongest emotion I can. And then I pull in everything I'm actively manifesting in my life into the present moment. I feel gratitude for it right now. And that just primes me. And dude, like there will be some days I'll get away from it, and then like my manifestation abilities will slow down, and I'll be like, oh yeah, get back to it.
What changed?
Yeah. Like it's crazy how fast it works.
Do you wake up? I tend to wake up a little anxious, and I think part of it's the cortisol. Part of it's probably me not putting as much work into practices like that in the morning. Do you ever have that when you wake up in the morning?
Not anymore. Well, I think that I'm in a season of life that doesn't require me to be urgent. So the anxiety isn't there, versus like, you know, when I was $80,000 in credit card debt and my business wasn't really making money yet,
a little more urgency.
With a lot of urgency, right? So it's a lot easier now being out of debt and being the season life I'm in. Of course, like I'm continuing to expand. There's things I'm trying to create that, you know, put pressure on me and cause tension. But I think that that priming goes a long way. And anchoring myself. All right, all the blessings are already here that I used to like dream about. It's already here. Let me sink in it. When you have that much evidence, like it's, you know, it's undeniable, and it puts you into a grateful state. And then being able to pull everything I'm manifesting and feeling it's already done. It's done.
It's already here.
Yeah. It's here right now.
Even with that knowing, do you still have fear or anxiety come up, or sadness?
Yeah. And that's just like, all that is just my disbelief in God. That's all it is. And I try to remind myself of that, is like whenever I'm trying to create something and I'm feeling some anxiety come up, it's like, what's going on here? Like, why is there resistance? I try to do this, it's not working. It's all comes down to my disbelief in God. Because if you truly believe in God, there's no reason to worry ever. Right? If you're a true believer, you have no worries.
I know.
And so it's
really the truth, but it's the practice that's hard.
And that's the oscillation for me, is like most of the time I believe in God. Sometimes.
Do you believe in God? Most of the time.
Yeah. Because it's not just the words I say. You ask me, do you believe in God? It's like most of the time I'm working towards being in full holy union with that. But sometimes, you know, I fall into a pattern of like thinking. That's my biggest enemy, is just like thinking. It's like, okay, I have to like make this amount of money by this time to create this outcome for myself. And then my mind wants to start to be like, all right, well, how do I do this? And it starts to live in the how. And
which is worry, because you don't know how.
Exactly, which creates anxiety. And what I found the absolute best solution to this is, of course, do all the subconscious work we're talking about, but then anchor yourself into the gratitude for what's already here, and then gratitude for the thing that you want to figure out how. It's already done. It's already here.
Yep.
Just anchor yourself into it. Create an image that you're walking around in and living in it, and trust and trust. And it's so hard. I know it's hard because I was very naive, but when I was 22 and I started my first company, like I used to believe that I was like, oh, I'm going to be 25, I'm going to be a multimillionaire. Like I've
been there,
ambitions, right? I was like, I'm going to do it. And like, it's taken a lot longer to get there than what I thought about when I was 22. And then that disbelief comes up, right? Because it's like, well, come on, I'm doing the manifestation thing. Like, why isn't it happening? And it's like, well, because you're oscillating between thinking the how, instead of fully trusting in God. Yeah.
I love that, man. I just heard someone say recently, it was like, I don't believe in God. I know in God.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And so that person shouldn't spend a moment of their life ever in worry or fear.
Yeah.
Because if you know it, boom, you know it.
What's there to worry about?
Yeah.
It's all happening for you.
That's it. And you also you're like, well, I'm an eternal soul in this flesh body here. So what am I worrying about? I'm not getting out alive. I'm going to go on and do whatever comes next.
Were you freaking out the first time you had that ego death when you were dying?
I think it was just so earth-shattering to me that I didn't know what to think about it, dude.
Yeah.
It was more like I came out of it, and they sat me outside with like an apple, and they're like, yeah, connect to this. This is nature. And I was like, the plastic panels on the side of this house are nature. It's all nature.
Everything's nature.
Everything's nature. What are you talking about? It's just like a complete reset, rewiring of what I believe was real.
Yeah. I was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Mine was like a slow pull out. It was
Really?
like, oh my God. It was like, I just fucking killed myself.
Yeah.
I am leaving my body. Fuck. Like, no, I had so much stuff I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so young. My parents,
Yeah.
my friends at the time, my girl at the time, everything. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to see them again. Fuck.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you've done this before. It's okay. This is just a transition. You've experienced this many times. You're loved. You're safe. I think it was like these entities in the psilocybin realm. It seemed like these super evolved souls or entities that have known me forever and were like guiding me through and have like always guided me through this process on a soul level. And I was just so scared to let go of Drew, my identity. I was like so attached to it. I'm like gripping, and they're like, "It's okay,
Just let it go."
I'm like, "No, I don't want to."
That's beautiful. Sounds like you have some good guides.
Yeah.
Now with the bufo, you don't have a choice. It's just
fucking rips you.
Yeah, it just rips you right through. I think that's where these plant medicines can be great, but they can also be traumatic.
Yeah.
And like I've actually I made a YouTube video talking about my experience, and I've had, because I got a lot of trauma from it that my sensei helped me heal. And I've had to help other people through the trauma of having that experience as well.
Yeah.
And I've also sent some people to my sensei to help as well, because it's like if you're so like rooted in this physical realm, when you get taken through the veil, like it can be very, very just abrupt and traumatic.
Traumatic, bro.
Yeah.
It's a great way to describe it. Terrifying and traumatic.
Yeah.
But also beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the yin and the yang of it, right? It's like it opens up a whole new world, and it also kills off the old world.
Yeah. As Mike Tyson said, "Oh shit, white boy killed me."
White boy killed me. So good.
I love that. Well, brother, I can't thank you enough for coming on. You're a super powerful dude, and I'm grateful that we got to connect, and I'm excited to keep getting to know you on a deeper level.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, brother. Till next time.
Boom.
Boom.